Hi everyone, it's Linda Ockwell-Jenner here again, President of Motivational Steps. And I've been enjoying a series of conversations, if you'd like to call it that, with Sharon Bennett. And they've been really interesting. And we started off talking about women in tech, and we're covering lots of different areas that actually lead us back to that. Hi Sharon, it's nice to see you again.
Nice seeing you again.
I'm really excited. I've been reading over my notes, and what we're going to be talking about today is where does the future, take us? What does the future have in store for us? Have you got a crystal ball?
I wish. No, I do not. I don't have a crystal ball. I have a couple of good educated guesses on what's probably going to happen, but I don't know for sure. But what I do think might happen is that we've been talking about getting more women into tech, or more minorities into STEM.
Yeah.
And I really think that we're going to continue to slide backwards. I don't think we're going to move forward anytime soon. And we have some indicators that are pointing to that. We're having less females enroll in computer science programs at university. And so we're starting to see some of those numbers. On the upside, though, we're seeing more females. We have more females surpassing men for enrollment in university. But in the technical fields, those numbers are still low.
Okay, so have you got the numbers in front of you? Because all these numbers are confusing me, and I am blonde, Sharon.
The hair color has nothing to do with it.
I just like.
And I don't mean that the other way either.
Will you talk about who's Betsy Atkins? You've mentioned Betsy Atkins. Who is she?
I believe. You know what? I don't even know. I grabbed that
okay.
as
But
numbers.
The thing is, she's making a note here that while the figures for women leading Fortune 500 companies grew to 6.4% in 2017, which was up by 2.6%, the number of women CEOs numbers went down to 24 last year.
Yep.
So that was 8 less than 2017. So you just mentioned that the enrollment for women is up, if I'm right.
Overall,
but we're going backwards. So this is absolutely ridiculous. What on earth is going on? So we've got a steady decline.
we're seeing definitely that decline is continuing. And like I said, I don't think it's going to get better anytime soon, and for a couple reasons. We have a lot of women who are leaving tech, and so we don't have role models. We don't see them on stage at conferences. We don't see them in those CEO roles or leadership roles, and so we don't have a mentor. Who can we reach out to for help and help us, conquer some of the battles that we face every day when we're a woman in tech or a minority in STEM.
Yeah, good point.
And so we're leaving. I mean, I'm getting.
Don't you leave? You can't leave.
Oh no, not yet. But I will be leaving because retirement is going to come at some point, and there's really not that many after me to replace me.
I was just trying to think who springs to your mind. You would probably know better than me. In your field, in the techie field, a woman CEO. Do we have one? Don't we have one just recently been named?
So Marissa Mayer was CEO of Yahoo, which has now been sold, I believe, and she is no longer the CEO.
Okay, that was quick. Facebook has a woman something.
Yeah, so I believe she is
but she's not a CEO.
No, so that's Sheryl Sandberg.
No.
Meg Whitman, I believe, is HP. And there's another lady, I think, for Cisco. I'm trying to pull them off the top of my head.
Yeah. That's really. And again, I'm of the opinion that the woman can only be the CEO if she can actually do the job as well as, or better than a guy. I know this isn't techie and this isn't really to do with, but have you heard of Margaret Thatcher, the woman prime minister in the UK? So basically, Dave and I were watching a documentary about her last night, and she eventually did become Prime Minister, but she was judged very much, and this is, 79, around about 79, 80ish, I think she was in for 11 or 12 years or something. She had a cabinet of all men, and I didn't even know that. I didn't really care actually before, but last night I really did care because I was thinking about our conversation. And a lot of these men were what they call old Etonians. They went to Eton, which is a posh whatever place. And basically, none of them really liked her or supported her. So all these guys, imagine this is Maggie Thatcher, CEO of LinkedIn, and then all these guys are not supporting her and stabbing her in the back. And we haven't come far, have we, in that case? And yes, I mean, I think she did an awful lot of good, and I don't think she can be blamed for everything. But they used to call her the Iron Lady. So heaven knows what they call women today who get to the top of the, But that was my experience of all those years ago, how it was a struggle then, and we still haven't come very far, have we? So what can we do to change this? I mean, you and I have talked about mentoring and supporting women, and the parents should support the young girls. But, you're saying we're going to go backwards. That breaks my heart because... Please tell me, Sharon, what can we do about this?
Well, we need initiatives that are actually working. I mean, and we have seen some numbers increase, and the big corporations do release their numbers on on diversity, and so, but those numbers are increasing very, very slowly, and unfortunately, as we've talked about throughout this series, there are factors on why women leave tech.
Sexual harassment,
harassment's a really big one. We're questioned more often. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and we've talked about a lot of it over the last couple of episodes.
But I thought it was getting better. I didn't think it was getting worse.
I do think it's going to get worse. I think right now I think we're trying to figure out the balance. Before we knew what the balance was. We knew what the expectation was, and now all of a sudden we have the Me Too movement, and we have a couple of other things, and all of a sudden it's like, well, where's the balance? And
I don't think, if it's okay to jump in, I don't think Me Too, really and truly, speaking as a woman, a female, a person, a human being, I don't think that helped a lot of women. I really don't, because some of those people didn't exactly tell the whole truth. Some of those people waited a long time. You see, where bullying, harassment of any kind, yes, it's okay to speak up because we're going to make it better for the next person. And I know this is probably controversial, but years ago, a lot of these women, females, waited until they were in a certain position before they spoke up, and then it was like a knock-on effect. And you might tell me that in the techie world, if a woman spoke up, she'd get fired. But I think there's been more support today because there are more women out there who will support you and believe you if you speak up. So I personally think that a lot of those Me Too people made it worse for women to speak up. That's just my opinion.
And to a point, I agree to a point.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the point is that we're having those conversations now.
Yes.
Whereas we weren't having them 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And, we have women who are coming into the industry who know that it's a tough industry. They're asking the questions. My mentee asks, what's it like? I'm not going to lie to her. And, so I think because of that, they read the paper, they know, they've read the reports of what happened at Uber, they looked at the Google manifesto. Yeah. So we know it's still happening. So until, again, we have workplaces that support everybody, we're going to continue to see the declines.
Well, I'm hoping that it's going to get better because we know an awful lot of people who are males who do support the cause, who do want more women in tech, who are there for them. And I think, I'm thinking back to when women didn't have the vote. I mean, yes, there was a movement. They did lots of funny things. In England, they chained themselves to railings and everything. So I think I would like women to help themselves more by being together as women and helping the cause and being more vocal. But in my case, I'd like it to be without blaming guys for where they are now because they can't really help it. They're there. it's happened, be the change we want. It's a bit like the politicians keep bashing each other. I think there's too much bashing going on, and I know I'm being controversial. So is it true that there's only 12% of engineers, Silicon Valley startups, who are females, women? 12% of engineers at Silicon Valley startups are women. That's not a lot.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes. So those numbers they're accurate. Again, came from another study. The numbers in Silicon Valley are low. So women startups get less VC or venture capital funding.
No, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Now, why is that though? Well, women are, can do the same as a man in my mind with anything they do. So why would they get less funding?
Typically because most VCs or venture capitalists are men, and so they're going to contribute to companies that they're comfortable with. Let's put it, I guess that's a good way to put it, or to a company a product they understand. If they don't understand a product, maybe because it was made by a woman, they probably won't fund that. And that's why you look at like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank.
Dragon's Den, yeah.
And that's, we've got a diverse panel for that reason.
Yes, I love that. Why I'm surprised? Because millennials and the ones under millennials, whatever they're called, and the fact that there's more diversity and inclusion, I would have thought the next generation, the younger generation, would be more open to accepting whomever into the workplace and supporting them. So I'm going to go against you, Sharon, and say I think it's going to get better. I do, because we're encouraging to be what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to say to be kind to each other. And I'm older than the millennials, obviously, but I think they will respect the fact that if there's a woman in the workplace, she's not necessarily a woman, she's a co-worker who's doing the job well. So I think that generation will be the change we want, Sharon, I really do. So keep your pecker up, as they say in England. It's not going to get worse. And you will retire, Cinderella.
It's going to get better.
Unless you win the lottery and you can retire tomorrow. I think it's a slow process. Like recently, it's a couple of months ago, I was lucky enough to go to an event with my daughter. I had no idea who the keynote was. And it was Lisa, I think she's called Listen. And she's, she's the VP or the CEO of FedEx Canada, but she's way up there, and she tells this really funny story. I actually loved it a bit. She was amazing. She inspired me. When the head guy from America phoned her and told her that she was going to get this only woman in Canada to get this position, she says, "But are you sure you haven't even interviewed me yet?" And boy, she can do the job, and she's turned it around. So I think she's a really, really good example of it's happening slowly. And I think women have got an awful lot of support. I just want women to realise that not all guys are bad guys. Some guys are bad.
I totally agree with you, and and we have some fabulous allies out there, male allies, and we are where we are because they've helped support us. And I know I work with some
and we've supported them, though. I mean, we support them as well.
Totally.
Yeah. Now, I know he's not alive. I'm not that blonde. Steve Jobs. If he was around today, because I don't know what he felt about women in tech, do you think, was he a supporter of women in tech, or was he a bit of a male chauvinist,
Who are you referring to?
Steve Jobs, would he have supported more women in tech? I know we don't know because the poor guy died of cancer, but was he of the old kind of, army where women weren't good enough?
I'm venturing a guess, and this is just a guess.
Yeah.
I suspect that the early days of Apple were very heavily male dominated.
Yeah. It's really interesting, isn't it? I think it's definitely going to be the younger generation that make the change we want to see. And you and I are encouraging more young girls, people who go to school, to speak up and say they are interested in tech, and for more boys who are people Be very careful to support those girls. Like I said before, I think when I first started my business, I'd go into the schools and I'd put my hand up. I'd say, put your hand up if you want to be in the IT. And mostly it was the little boys. And then they don't do that anymore. A lot of them don't want to be in the IT, boys or girls. So it's interesting. Well, I think this was another good chat, wasn't it? And I think we've decided it will get better. It won't be getting worse. You will retire, Cinderella, again. And I will retire one day when I'm fed up of working. I'm glad I don't work in the tech industry to drive me nuts.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's fun. It really is. It is fun, but it does have its challenges.
I'd probably keep getting fired for having a big mouth. They say we don't want women like you here. Go and wash the pans or something. No, I'm only joking. You work at an amazing organisation. You're very lucky. So Sharon, thanks for your time again. This is really fun. Sometimes we agree with each other and sometimes we don't, and we're still smiling. So we'll be back again with another wonderful chat, Sharon, and you have a lovely day.
You too. Thanks.